Greetings to Susie and all the family, as well as all of you who have gathered there in Arizona to remember Robin, as well as all those who are online. I just want to express my deepest condolences to you all. This is Kevin Graves, and I was the team leader for Robin and Susie during this last of many chapters of their missions service to the Lord. And it was a real privilege for me to be able to work with Robin and learn from him and pray with him and just be a fellow soldier in the cause of Christ. And in some ways, it was an odd role for me as the team leader because Robin was more mature and older than me, more experienced than I was. And yet there are a few things that I feel like I'd just like to remember Robin to you all that he was exceptional in and that made it work. And I think you'll appreciate these things with me. The first thing I'd like to mention is that Robin was content in a supportive role, which is hard for people. A lot of times people who have leadership, they are always wanting to lead. And yet Robin was content just to fall into a role where he was just supportive. And I think part of the reason is because he wasn't ambitious. He knew his role and he stayed in his lane. And it made him an awesome team player, if not an ideal one. I think the other part of that is he was secure in who he was. And so he wasn't striving to become something or to become well known. He knew what he was good at, and he applied himself, and he did it with excellence. The second thing is that he lived as one who was contented. I would say, just like the Apostle Paul, who said, "I have learned in whatever state I am to be content." I could say over a lifetime, not very many people have exhibited that quality better than Robin did. He just knew, I'm content in who I am. I don't have to perform. I don't have to show anybody anything. I just know who I am. And there was a contentment that Robin lived with and served with that was an example to us all. And then the third thing that I think was really important was that Robin reminded me a lot of my own older brother, who's one of my favorite people in life, and the person that at this point in my life I've respected more than any other living person. My brother Steve has just been that kind of an example and person for me, and Robin had many of the same qualities and characteristics that my brother Steve has. And I don't think I ever told Robin that, but I think it's one of the reasons why it really made me feel so comfortable around him and just able to share my heart. And so there was never any sense of discomfort, and we could just be ourselves, together. So that was awesome to have these qualities in Robin that really made him an amazing team player. Let me share a story that few of you probably have heard, especially from my perspective, and in this way, that really helps to define who Robin was as a man of God. In over 40 years of missionary service, I've spent a great deal of my time and energy helping to raise up, equip, and train and prepare the national leaders to perform in their roles and in their offices, and to be the best that they could be. And so training national church leaders is not something that everybody can do. So we had a core of apostolic leaders over the national work that all of us had determined that what we really needed to move the movement forward and to continue to grow and prosper and have worldwide impact, we really needed to have a proper, systematic, spirit-filled, relevant kind of a Bible school and Bible training for all of the people that were being raised up within the work. We all felt it was key to everything that God had called us to do. And it was at that time the Holy Spirit led me to contact Robin and Susie, because they had been coming to our annual retreat for a few years, and because they had been coming, I got to know them, and I also knew that they were in a period of transition. And as I was praying, I just felt like I really feel like Robin and Susie would be perfect for what we're looking for. And so I contacted Robin, and I explained to him. I said, I think your time of service in Asia is not over, that you have another assignment. You have something else the Lord's been preparing you for. And, on that call, Robin, I can't remember exactly whether it was the next day, or it certainly was not more than a couple of days, that Robin had gotten on an airplane and flown several thousand miles to sit and to be with me. And after coming and just talking about it for a few hours, he just said, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Of course, he had to still sit down with Susie and hammer it out, but I want you to see from this the kind of heart that this man had, that it was a heart that was submitted to God, submitted to his will, and there was no struggle. There was no striving. Yeah, sure, we came from the same Elam roots, the same heritage, and we'd have been involved in ministry in Southeast Asia for all of that time. But I can just see in him this submission to the will of God. And once that purpose and that calling was made available to him, there was already a yes in his heart. And so I think that really helps us to understand the kind of minister that Robin was, the kind of man that he was, and the kind of example that he has left behind. Let me just close with one final caveat, and that is Robin was loved. And obviously within our team, he was loved within Target Ministries. Everybody they were drawn to him. So many of the younger couples, of course, they would just spend hours and hours just of quality time with Robin and Susie, asking all kinds of questions and getting all kinds of really great insight. But whenever his name has been brought up in conversation, when we were meeting together or discussing any matters related to the work or to training programs or the Bible schools, right up to the time when I had to share about his passing away with many of the national leaders, the response was always, just one of endearment. You could tell that just the heart that people had for him was one that was genuine, because they had received genuine love and mutual respect from Robin. And so, like, for instance, one couple just earlier this month, when they came to the U.S. and I spent time with them, I told them in person about Robin's passing, and immediately they grew very, very quiet, and then they began to silently and just weep for several minutes. And I'm not surprised by the reaction, but at the same time, it's striking, right? Where here I share this news, and immediately there was a visceral and deep response that this man was loved. He had left an impact. And, I think on their behalf, because many of them won't be able to address you all and to speak in this forum, I would say that they said it best. They said, Teacher Robin was such a good man. I think of this, we're all in agreement. And may I just add one more thing, that not only good, but faithful. And so we rejoice, Robin, right now that you have received the well done, thou good and faithful servant, from the one you served with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. Well done.